Hey everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to revitalize your very tired GM paint. I'm sure many of you have seen this on 80s and 90s GM vehicles. This one's an 89 Chevy truck. Take a look at this paint. It's pretty terrible. The clear coat, as you can see here, it's all gone. And all that's left is the paint underneath, which I've tried to save. I've tried waxing it. I've even tried some heavier duty compound, and it looks great for a few hours, but it really doesn't look as good as it can. So I figured out a way to make it look nice, and I've tried it here. Now this is the exact same hood. You can see the difference. Right, that's where I put my masking tape, right here. Pulling back a bit, you see the difference between the two halves. So if you think your paint job is shot, not necessarily. I'm going to show you what I did. And I did it without any special tools, any special compounds, nothing. What I used was jug of water, some 2000 grit sandpaper, very important to go 2000, not any less. The stuff I picked up at a yard sale called swirl remover for dark cars, but really any good compound. Meguiar's makes a product called Ultimate Compound that'll do the same thing. And then after I'm done, just put some wax on it. So step one, there's no way that you're going to get this to look like this with compound or car wax or car polish or anything. What I found is you've got to sand it, wet sand it, and wet sand it with 2000 grit paper. So I'm going to show you how I do that. It's a little tricky to do this and hold the camera, but you'll get the idea. So you take your 2000 grit sandpaper. Oops. Doesn't matter if you get water all over the place because you want water on the finish. And you just, you don't have to put any pressure on this, just with the weight of the pad. It's got a rubber pad underneath. Just go back and forth, pausing every 30 seconds or so to wet your sandpaper. Do not go in circles, back and forth. Just like this. How long you do this for is really dependent on how bad the paint is. In this particular case, I went back and forth quite a few times. You're not pressing on the surface. If it starts to drag, then you know you need more water. The idea here is just to remove that top layer that is just completely shot and get down to where there's actual paint that's usable. And it's going to look terrible at first, really terrible, because you're sanding paint. It's not meant to be sanded. But you're sanding it with such a fine grade sandpaper that it's almost like you're using some really heavy duty compound on it. Just 2000 grits more heavy duty than any compound that I know. So as you can see, I've been doing this a minute or two, just going back and forth, not circular. Doesn't matter if the pad is this way or this way. Doesn't matter. Your personal preference. Remember, no pressure on the pad. Just let it drag. And you'll feel when it starts to get easier, it starts to smooth out. And that usually means you've gone far enough. I mean, now this thing is sailing across the finish, whereas before it was completely dragging. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to dry this off and see what we're looking like here. So let's do that. So it's drying, a little bit wet still, so it's a little hard to tell what's going on here. Okay, now it's dry enough for you to see what's going on. So already, although it's scratched because I've been sanding it, look at the difference between the before and after. So let me give you all three actually. So this is what I already finished. This is what it looks like with no work done to it. And this is where it's at now. Okay, you can see the scratch marks from the paper, but that's okay. It's much smoother. You know, my finger drags on this side. It's much smoother here. So what you got to do there is determine if you need to sand it more or not. I don't know if I do, so I'm going to try not doing that and move on to the next step, which can always be repeated if you need to. That next step is to take a polishing pad similar to this. Now you can use a buffer for this. It's a lot faster to use a buffer, but you don't have to. I'm going to show you how to do it by hand. Again, this stuff is yard sale stuff, but Meguiar's Ultimate Compound will do probably a better job even than this stuff. Put a little bit on here, like that, and spread it around a bit, and then start to work it in. And this you do want to do in a circular motion. And it's okay to press hard. It's great arm workout. You don't have to kill yourself though. And unlike car polish or car wax, you don't just do it once and finish. This really has to be worked in, because what you're doing is you're sanding the paint. You're just sanding it with a much finer type of sandpaper than I was just using, than the 2000 grit. So work it right in there until it's gone. So let's take a look. I've got a rag here. I'm going to wipe off what I just did, and let's take a look. See the difference? Here is sanded. Here is with the liquid buffing compound. Huge difference. Is it as nice as over here? Not yet. Not yet. So there's one of two things I need to do. I need to keep sanding, or I need to put some more compound on this. I'm going to try sanding it a little bit more. I may not have to do this. I may have gone far enough, but I don't want this video to be 20 minutes long, so I'm going to speed the process up a little bit. Remember, all you're doing is taking off that top coat of destroyed paint. It doesn't matter if your clear coat is gone. Mine, there's no clear coat left on this truck. It's been gone for years. But there is paint left on it. Obviously, if there's no paint on the truck, you're out of luck. But there is plenty of paint on this hood. Okay, I think that's enough sanding. So wipe it down again. And you can see, well, hopefully you can see, it's pretty tough in this light to see that the second round of sanding did take some additional marks out of the paint. It's shining a lot brighter than it was. Still not as good as over here, which is my goal, but much better. So we're going to go back and do the compound again. This time I'm going to put a little more compound on and hit it for a little longer. Again, it's a little tough to do this with the phone in my hand. One more tip. It's a little easier if you use a foam pad rather than this cloth pad that I've got. The foam is really what this is designed for. I don't have any foam pads at the moment, so I'm kind of cutting corners. But this section over here that looks so nice, I did with this same foam pad. So I'm not, you don't have to have it, but certainly foam would work a whole lot easier than cloth. So I'm just working it in again. And I can tell this time it's getting better and better. It'll keep you motivated the better it gets, because this is a slow process. If you've got to do a whole truck or a whole car, it's going to take a while. Get ready for that now. It simply is. This hood, you know, if I wasn't videoing it, this hood will take me at least an hour to do, at least just the hood. So prepare for the long haul, but it's going to be worth it. I'm liking what I see. Let's see what this looks like. I mean, even with the polish still on it, you can see it's way better. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is looking really nice now. Okay, now hopefully you can see what I see. Here's my goal. It's got water on it, and it's just kind of screwing up how it looks. But this looks beautiful here, trust me. That's how it looks with no work. This is how it looks sanded, but not polished. And this is how it looks polished. Man, I wish you could see it better. But it looks real nice. Now, you'll notice at the bottom there's a ridge of clear. That's going to take a little more sanding. I may have to use some 1500 grit on that, but I'm not going to worry about that for the sake of this video. So there you go. That's how you do it. Water, 2000 grit sandpaper, some swirl remover or Meguiar's Ultimate Compound. You can get it at Walmart or anywhere else. And preferably a foam pad, but doesn't have to be. This was all done by hand. You can use an electric polisher if you want, but you don't have to. Make sure you have some of these cloths to wipe the compound off. And then when you've got it looking the way you want it, it's very important that you follow it up with actual wax. There's a difference between polish and wax. Wax is going to coat the surface and protect it. Right now, this paint is completely exposed to the elements. There's no protection on it whatsoever. We've stripped it all off. You put this on next, it gives it a deeper shine and protects it. So remember to do that before you subject the vehicle to the elements. That's it. Good luck. Hours later, and I am done. You can see from the light up above, that wasn't shining in the hood at all before. Not at all. Now, it didn't come out perfect. Didn't expect it to, but right here, it's still a little bit oxidized right here. A little bit right here. But here, it's beautiful. Here, it's beautiful. I think the reason that it's still a little oxidized is that excuse me, I didn't use a foam pad. I used a cloth pad, and it just doesn't have the bite that you need to get everything out. So, you know, maybe in the future I'll do it again, but it looks real good right now, so I'm happy with it. I could also maybe try to sand it a little bit more, but I like it the way it is. One thing is when you get into grooves like this, yep, I found it's best to do it by hand, very gently, because if you try to put the sandpaper in here, you'll probably burn down the edge. So I did that by hand. Anyway, good luck. If you think your paint job is shot, maybe it's not. Maybe you can get some more life out of it.